Here we are at Birds of Prey Northwest, a 30-year-old nonprofit to conserve raptors. We do so through education with living birds of prey, and we also provide medical treatment for injured eagles, hawks, owls, falcons, and ospreys. These are the hoods we use to calm the birds when they're in our care and they need treatment. This is actually a special eagle hood. The beak comes through here, the eyes are covered, and it calms the bird. And these eagle feathers here are ready, prepped for implanting on a living specimen that's broken its feathers in an accident. Note this feather has been doctored with a bamboo whittled into square and placed into place with 5-minute epoxy. The broken feather will be cut off near the body of the living bird. I'll leave part of its quill and put more epoxy here and implant this feather into the complex feathers of the bird so it's got its full complement when it goes free. We're going to take a walk through all the aviaries. You're going to get to see who all is in our care here. A lot of people are so busy living their urban lives in their urban compounds that they don't get to interface with wildlife very much. Unless you see an eagle on the side of the road hurt or injured, you need to take action. We have two species of eagle in North America. We have the bald eagle, which loves fish and gets a white head and a white tail at age 5. Now we have the other eagle in North America, the golden eagle, a mammalian predator feeding on squirrel, fox, small mammals, that run around in the forest, but no fish for the golden eagle. And the golden eagle is often confused with the immature bald eagle. We saw so many on Lake Coeur d'Alene this week when we went eagle watching for the wintering eagles. But note two field characteristics that make the golden eagle different. The golden feathers on the back of his head, and he's feathered to the foot. Remember, the bald eagle has naked legs for dipping into the water after fish captures. This guy has 10 times the power in his feet for crushing the skull of a wolf, a deer, a squirrel, a fox, a rabbit. Well, this is a different kind of predator altogether. And for both species of eagles in our country, their death causes could totally be prevented. Illegal shooting of them by idiots who are poachers who have no respect for life. And the other problem is their ingestion of lead bullets during the big game hunting season. And today a new problem for golden eagles, wind turbines, which kill millions of bats, songbirds, and golden eagles. So their future looks bright today. Nobody's endangered. They're all off the endangered species list. And they are really important tellers of how well we're taking care of the environment. We learned that from DDT, that they're really bioindicators. They tell us how well we're taking care of the biome, and when we pollute it and they get sick first, telling all of us what our fate will be to follow. Dakota's an 11-year-old male golden eagle. He's a little eagle, 6-foot wingspan. He was found by a farmer after he fell from his nest as a baby, and the farmer took him into his farm and fed him rabbits by hand for several days. Now this eagle thinks that food comes from the end of a human hand, which is imprinting. Human imprinting is to be avoided at all costs here. So all of our teaching birds double as foster parent birds when we get orphans in of the same species, so we avoid imprinting here. Before Dakota, that's his disability. Cannot release imprinted birds back to the wild. They cause harm to humans. Would not work out. So his life is spent as a teaching bird, educating people about their history, their biology, and their conservation. Here at Birds of Prey Northwest, one of our prized teaching birds, held on special U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service permits, held for the strict purpose of educating folks about raptors. I led the bald eagle watching cruises for 11 years out of the resort. And one of the captains texted me yesterday, because they all say they miss us, and they were just talking and said, we counted over 450 eagles yesterday, a new record. Wow. And we were just there a few days ago. Remember, we thought 300 was a heck of a lot.
I would think so.
So they're setting record numbers this year. He's cued in on me. He's cued on our knee. He's waiting for me to give him the cue. Yeah. See, this is his glove. When I put this glove on and ask him to step up, his whole world changes, because then we're working. We're a working team.
And he knows.
He knows. In fact, he's waiting right now. Look at him waiting on the cue.
He's expecting.
He's waiting to see what I want him to do next. You're off duty, Dakota. It's Sunday.
What a good boy.
So with all the birds, even as we walk, some of them will be spooked by you because there's just a pretty big group of us.
Yeah,
We've all
yeah.
got funny hats on. It's a lot tougher to care for raptors in the winter months because the hoses freeze, their food freezes, the daylight is done at 4
right.
o'clock. And some of these cords that you see are to keep birds that would normally be in Mexico and South America warm while they're here. This is Beauty.
Oh,
Hi, good girl. Hi, good girl. Did you eat any of your fish? Not a strip. And this is our most famous patient here. This is Beauty, the subject of my children's book. She was shot illegally by a poacher in Alaska many years ago. And I flew her here to help her. And we were the first people to build a 3D printed prosthetic beak for Miss Beauty, the bald eagle. But my research has since shown that beaks are like fingernails. They continue to grow and grow, just enough to push off the beak she had on. And so today she feeds herself without her beak with the help of this feeding platform. The strips of salmon draped neatly over the edge allow her to get underneath with her bottom beak and feed herself to live in captivity. She's an unusual patient for us because we see a lot of broken wings, broken legs, head trauma. She's just missing 3 inches of her biology and totally helpless, dependent upon humans now because she cannot eat and process her food to swallow it without that beak. So the 3 components of a raptor are all critical. Their talons on the end of their feet, that sharp hooked beak for tearing food, and that incredibly powerful vision. So without any one of those, it can spell doom for your future in the wild. So Beauty doesn't travel, she's a display bird. She shows people what people do to bald eagles. She represents one of the leading causes of death of bald eagles. And I always promised this eagle that I'd write a book one day and tell her story. And so 5 years ago, her award-winning story was published. It's won many awards since. And she is just now having technology catch up with her, as about every 3rd grade elementary class now has a 3D printer. And after the kids read her story, Beauty and the Beak, the teacher asks me for the file. They can put the file into their 3D printer and print out her actual prosthetic beak.
So
we're-
repeat the prosthetic beak?
It's missing now, yes. It's absent because it got pushed off by the new growth underneath. And she represents a typical bullet exit wound, creating much more damage on the far side than the entry bullet makes. So illegal shooting of bald eagles is real. You don't often see it, but I, as a clinician, see the dark side of humanity when we treat these birds for lead bullet poisoning and or illegal shooting if they survive. Beauty's a big Alaskan bald eagle. Weighs about 12 pounds and has about a 7-foot wingspan. And we have to preen her probably just a little after Christmas. See how she can't preen those feathers all in?
of course.
Because she doesn't have that beak to rub like a file against her quills that come in. Good girl, Beauty. And she's never been trained. She just knows after all the procedures and hearing my voice that we are here to help her and not harm her. So she just sits there dutifully and lets people look at her. Right, Miss Beauty? You don't have much to say today. Usually you call out to us. Do you have something to say, Miss Beauty? Can you go kick, 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 kick? You too cold?
Yeah, she seems like she's shivering.
Yeah, she's a little nervous because everybody's staring at her.
Yeah.
What is the one threat to a wild animal?
Us.
Staring at them on approach. Can't be good.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
we are trained whenever we're walking up on the birds not to just stare them down, but wait till you get up here and then look at them. Hi, Miss Beauty. Are you going to turn around for us? Good girl, Beauty. Good girl.
Look at this.
Does she have vision on both eyes?
No, she's blind in that one eye for sure now.
Okay.
Yep. She's 26 this year. She would be at the end of her life in the wild. But in captivity as a teaching bird, she could live to be 50, where she won't be shot, poisoned, starved to death, hit by a car. She could, and okay, where's my friend who's 68? I'm 67, she's 26. Somebody's gonna outlive the other. I need a raptor center.
Haley.
And so we go from one of the largest birds on the property to one of the smallest.
Just when all that was laying out, is there a reason she didn't go for it? You have all
Yeah,
that
she's
food
full.
laying out for her. Huh?
She's not hungry.
Oh, she's full. Wow.
One at a time. Don't stare at the bird on approach. Go on in there. Go on in there. You don't have to be scared. Go on in there. And we got to go in one at a time because it's a little tiny aviary. This is the, yeah, just don't touch the netting. That's their safety zone. This is the little pygmy owl. We'll let this gentleman go in a minute so he can get a picture. And you should be able to shoot between those little spaces. So this is the smallest owl in Idaho. Second smallest owl in North America, followed only by the elf owl in the desert southwest, who's about 3 inches tall. This is the little pygmy owl of North Idaho. Does he have the cute factor going on? Go on up there one at a time and have a peek. Go on in there. Just don't stare at him on approach.
Oh, I gotta figure out how to do that.
So you can see how if you collide with a car and you only weigh 4 ounces, you need medical care
Top
immediately.
corner and top right. I'm trying to.
And so a lot of these birds
My zoom
survive
isn't really
because
hitting
they
it
don't
very well.
change the world will have to do with like cold and the interstate phase everything.
I'm Sony of some sort. Had it forever, but
Well,
these autofocus a lot.
Wind turbines, I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's
could go on
endless.
and on. Think how we've changed the world
Yeah,
and
the
they're all
green
surviving.
See if I can get
green
focus on this.
scan.
Okay, you two.
I'm sorry. It was just it's hard to focus through the screen.
What I can do for you is it, Tim?
Oh,
I can go in there with you and crack the door so you don't have to shoot through the screen. Just let these folks have
Okay,
the
okay.
door.
okay.
Yes, but they're nocturnal, so they're awake at night when you're asleep, so you don't often
But
see
we do
them.
have them around here.
Oh, yeah.
Want me to shut the door behind you?
Come on in here.
Close this one.
Yep, I'll take care of it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, let's trade places. You come over here, Tim.
You got it.
You know, I've never done this with a perfect stranger before, but I trust you implicitly with this material.
Okay.
These are our educational birds meant to be viewed by the public. And this is one of our smallest educational birds. This is Polka Dot, the northern pygmy owl. He has a shoulder injury and can't fly well enough to hunt, so he's the smallest on our teaching team of educational ambassadors here at Birds of Prey Northwest.
Okay, you win.
A natural resident here of North Idaho, a cavity nesting bird of prey. One of the smallest residents here on the property.
Wow.
That
Thank you.
helps.
Sounds.
Hi, Sawyer. Okay, 3 at a time in here. It's okay, buddy boo. Go on in, watch your step.
You want to go first?
And then Tim and I will go in last on that. Notice I'm cued in on backups that have to be closed and locked. Click on that, John. There you go. Thank you, sir. Okay, now let's trade places. Come over here, Tim. He'll just sit tight. This is little Sawyer, our saw-whet owl, an educational ambassador here at Birds of Prey. This nocturnal species of owl is found throughout North Idaho here. His disability is that he's imprinted by humans. Hence that little trill call to the humans, do you have food for me? And I see from looking at his feeding platform, he's eaten everything I gave him last night. It was quite cold, down to the 20s, so I put a hand warmer inside that sock, put his mice on top of the hand warmer so his food stays thawed through the night. And it was quite cold last night, down to 23.
Excellent.
Notice how each species is a little bigger as we go along. Hi guys. These are our western screech owls. And one bird is blind in one eye and one bird has a shoulder injury. And they have little tufts that come up during the daytime when they're sleeping to act as part of their camouflage mechanism. And they are cavity nesters in the wild, hence they have little boxes that we provide for them, just like in nature. And they are masters of camouflage when they're sleeping during the daytime and want to go undetected. The western screech owl. Get them out here on the property so they can see the operation, what it takes to feed these birds, to care for them in the winter when the hoses are frozen, the mice are frozen, it's dark at 4 o'clock. You better be fueled by passion to drive you because you're just like a farmer. You got to take care of your animals every day.
No days off.
So let's continue our tour.
No days off.
Falcons. We have 5 falcons in North America. The kestrel at the end here, the little merlin next, the peregrine falcon, the prairie falcon, and the Arctic gerfalcon. So these are all trained falcons that travel with us to educate people about the fast flying falcons that eat other birds. And of course, all the way down to the cute and colorful little American kestrel. Hayden. Hi, Buddy Boo. You see the little American kestrel? See how he's bobbing his tail? Only kestrels do that. So if you see a little bird sitting on a pole pumping his tail like that with that little black stripe through his eye, that's the smallest falcon in North America, the very cute and colorful kestrel. We just flushed a wild eagle.
So they can't be together, would they fight?
Destruction, illegal shooting. Remember, this bird is a pigeon feeder. What did we do to the passenger pigeon? Anybody remember?
What?
It's extinct.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
So we wiped out its food supply, destroyed its habitat, and then hit it with DDT. And so this is the species that when they handed it to me in 1990, I had that epiphany. I went, wow, you mean we humans can wipe you off the face of the earth, the peregrine falcon, or we can restore you to your full glory? Sorry, Mom. Bye, medical school.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a biologist and study raptors. And so I was one of the young biologists that helped repopulate this country with peregrine falcons. Where did we put them? In the strangest of places, skyscrapers. They need a lofty ledge to nest on. And what flies around in cities? But pigeons.
Yeah.
So there's a food base built in. So it turned out that the urban environment created by humans, the same people that endangered this species, turned out to be its saving grace. And now you'll find the rare, fast, speedy peregrine falcon today in most major cities atop their tallest skyscraper.
Wow.
So
And
the
I think
population was down to 40 at one point?
That's right.
Wow.
And I think the world would have been a poorer place if we'd lost this species.
Without a doubt.
Because it does indeed dive at over 200 miles an hour. Got real short legs and big feet for capturing prey in midair. It's designed for speed, and it's a remarkable wonder of nature. This bird was gifted to us out of Billings, Montana. Falconer captured the bird legally, flew it for a while, had a child, built a home, didn't have time to continue the sport. So she's donated to us. Come on in, Tim. It's okay, Tallulah. You're all right, big girl. It's okay, Chew. It's okay, Tallulah. Tallulah is a female peregrine falcon. She's an Anatum subspecies, a mid-continent subspecies, and a modern-day conservation success story that they were recovered after the effects of DDT. Peregrines are designed for speed and eat pigeons and ducks, capturing them in midair after diving high speeds through the environment. It's okay, Flint. Flint. He's not going to make for good photography. We'll get you a better picture of the Ger falcon. I happen to have a few of them. Stand right here and look at the eagles. And Tim, you come in with me. Come on in here. That lock is wonky. I'm not going to let him out. You're just going to have to trust me what I tell you to do, okay?
Okay.
I want you to step right inside there, right by the fish, and just shoot what you want.
Inside.
Go inside. Trust my judgment. Don't stare at him. Coming in with you. So what you have here is a 3-year-old bald eagle on the left. His tail and his head are beginning to turn white at age 3. And next year he'll become a sub-adult. These birds are both waiting to be trained as our new educational ambassadors. One is blind in one eye on the right. The one on the left, the 3-year-old, has a hole in his wing from a tragic accident. And so these are all aviaries sized by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service requirements. In order to keep two bald eagles in an aviary, it has to be 50 feet long, 10 feet wide, 10 feet high. Bare minimums. Because these birds live their lives in these spaces as teaching birds. And the immature eagles are 1 year to 4 years of age, and then the 5 you're an adult. So those
Got it.
juvenile, immature, adult. And that
okay.
process
So
takes 5
By
years.
5 years, they're all white on top.
Yeah, and you can see the 3-year-old on the left is already beginning to turn. His beak is turned yellow from brown. His eyes have lightened up from chocolate brown. And of course his head and tail are turning white. Let's walk this way. Right. All right, buddy. This is the largest of the falcons, the Arctic gerfalcon. Cheeks for the sport of falconry, they're retired. They're expensive to keep, so these birds get donated to us because people don't have any other place to take them.
We were,
And he's
actually,
near the end of his life.
we were actually in Santa Barbara, and at one of the hotels they had someone. Was it a falcon that they had?
It was a
Do you
hawk or a
remember?
falcon. I can't remember.
And it was there to basically keep other birds away.
Yes, it was an abatement bird. Yeah, they use them over vineyards. These falcons are flown over vineyards, cherry orchards, to keep the birds at bay.
Yes.
Let's
And it
walk
works,
this
boy.
way.
There is no seagull
Yeah,
there.
well, every bird knows to clear the air if there's a peregrine on the property. Crows, magpies, blue jays,
They're so smart.
and of course the ravens. They're highly intelligent. I had one for 10 years that talked.
Wow.
He would impersonate my voice perfectly, and the volunteers would go, "Janie, are you up here? I thought you were gone today." He would mimic
pick
my
a lock. These
They
birds.
can
That's
use
hilarious.
tools, they can
Yeah.
speak, and they're highly
so
intelligent.
smart.
And of course, the main difference
Ravens.
between the raven and the crow are their size. The crow is much smaller. The raven is about 10 times bigger than the crow and has a much larger beak.
But haven't they discovered is the raven's like a 5-year-old? The intelligence
Exactly.
of a 5-year-old kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's no longer derogatory to say you're a bird brain. That's why I often introduce myself as such, because science now has determined that birds have very large, high-functioning brains.
Oh, very.
Remember Aesop's fable where the crow wanted the water from the vase and he took stones to fill up the level?
It's true though.
It's true.
are
They
that
they
smart.
have that kind of intelligence.
Interesting.
Oh, it's unbelievable. She could throw a Rubik's Cube in there.
Let's keep moving. I'm
And
gonna
they
get
do
this
work.
done.
I don't want to hold you up.
Well, I mean, we could take hours to do this.
Yeah.
Tigger. This is Tigger. He was at the program.
Yes.
Now you see his tufts are really coming up now in a erect because that's what keeps him camouflaged. If he's up against the bark of a tree in the wild with those tufts up
Forget it,
and his
right?
eyes closed, you're never going to see
Never
this
see
bird
him.
who wants to go undetected while he's sleeping during the daytime, which is true of all owl species.
All, I was going to ask you that. All
Yeah, they're
owls?
nocturnal.
And this is probably the most common species of owl in our country, the great horned owl. And it never went endangered because it eats a lot of different things. It of course eats mice, rabbits, squirrels, fox, the only natural predator to the skunk. So when you eat lots of different things in your diet, you're less apt to get in trouble with poisonings and pesticides.
Do
Like
they? I'm sorry. When they sleep, like I know how hummingbirds lock when they're sleeping. They lock their talons on a little branch. Do they lock their talons when they're sleeping too?
Yes, they have a dual system of opposing ratcheting tendons in their feet. And when you have to do treatment on an eagle and you got to spread open that foot, you can hear the ratcheting that you're overcoming when you open the foot.
Right, click, click, click.
Exactly, and that's to hold on to your prey when you just caught something heavy, wriggling and alive, and to hold on to the branch when it's windy and you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, they just.
So they have very specialized feet, the bird of prey
That owl
does.
could take a fox?
Oh yes, it's called the flying tiger. It can kill just about anything it wants to know. It can't fly off with the skunk or the fox,
Right.
but it can kill it.
and then just eat it right there.
Let's go down these steps here, kids. These could be slick. Be careful. This is a northern goshawk.
Wow.
He's a secretive forest predator, has short rounded wings and a very long tail. He gets a red eye in adulthood, the goshawk does, and that field mark is that stripe above his eye. This bird was confiscated out of Spokane, Washington, where it was kept illegally as a pet. You can't do that. You can't even have a feather of one of these birds. So I work with officers a lot to confiscate birds and have no place to take them. So he has a resting heartbeat of about 200 beats per minute. But once again, he's been trained by myself to tolerate people staring at him, to tolerate audiences and kids, lots of stress. See, he's up on one foot. He is not bothered by you. Huh, Striker?
The
And
feathers
this
are
is a hawk,
incredible.
not a falcon.
Right, it's a northern goshawk. It's actually an accipiter, but it's not like a red tail. It's a member of accipiters. We have 3 in this country. The biggest is the goshawk, then the Cooper's hawk, then the sharp-shinned hawk. You will
And
be
what
found
is an
feeding.
accipiter? How is that defined?
It's a secretive forest predator with short rounded wings and a long tail for shooting through the forest canopies. They're ambush predators and they eat only other birds. So when you put your little bird feeder out and you're attracting your chickadees, and
Yeah.
you're also feeding the rest of the food chain that would feed on those birds. So you can't just tweak one part of nature when you put a bird
We
feeder
saw
out.
that firsthand.
Talk
by
to us
other
about
bird feeders.
these
Lots of
furs.
hawks.
I mean the furs, the feathers. They're so unique, these feathers.
Have a look.
Look, I mean, they look like fur almost.
Almost like the owls.
The tag on it.
We here in North Idaho have better habitat for the American bald eagle with all of our shallow lakes and plentiful fish. But it's these golden eagles that come from southern Idaho, Twin Falls, Pocatello area, where there's lots of arid mountainous terrain and jackrabbit populations, which usually sustain the nesting golden eagles.
Why does it say no fish ever on its instructions?
They don't eat fish.
What are they?
They're golden eagles.
Golden eagles.
That's right, they don't eat fish.
Golden eagles
are the
never eat
mammalians.
But look
They
what
are
do
mammalian
eat.
That's right.
predators.
Learned that from you, mammalians.
So if
right.
you feed them a fish, they'll
they
starve. They won't eat it.
Because they won't eat it.
Even though these birds are also found nesting in Alaska, the golden eagle is. Now these are foster birds. These are parent birds that I only keep so when we get baby eagles in, they go in with these foster parents to avoid imprinting so that baby can now go back to the wild.
So a baby would go in there with these two,
Yep.
The tags on this.
and then you'll take the baby out and release it, and you'll keep these two.
Yes, they've been here for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And they're from Alaska.
No. The one the big one on the left who collided with the plane near Lake Coeur d'Alene 20 years ago was found by a couple of FBI agents. Hey, young lady,
No, I can't. I'm not supposed to.
you can't do that.
Oh,
Come
I'm
back
sorry.
here.
I was going against the wind.
Sorry.
See, we always approach the birds on a certain path in the same direction. That's what they're used to. And if you want to get closer to a golden eagle, you have to go snuggle up to Dakota,
Okay.
because this is as close as you can get to these guys. Yeah, but I wanted you to see these large golden eagles, which almost always come from southern Idaho or to the north from Alaska.
Are they both females or female?
They're both
male?
females.
Both females.
Let's walk this way.
So they're
To attack us. To protect his food. He's an imprinted bird. So anytime a bird charges you like that, it's a good sign that they're imprinted. And they're showing aggression around humans and food. This is Rusty. He was in the program. He's one of our star teaching birds. And he's blind in one eye. You can see him rotating that head to compensate for the blindness in one eye.
Is that relatively common? How does that happen? You've mentioned that a few times.
At birth or in an accident. And he's a western red-tailed hawk. He's much darker than the eastern birds you would see in Ohio or Pennsylvania. And you can see the little leather straps around his ankles and his chest is hanging down. That's how we handle him. We go in there and ask him to step up, and then we hold on to those little straps to get his leash on so he can be shown in the public. And he's rotating that head to compensate for that blind eye that's facing us now.
And again, to calm them down, you just put that mask over their eyes and it calms
Yes.
them down.
Rusty.
We actually would have
Obviously
red-tailed
well
hawks in San Diego.
Yes. You would also probably find a golden eagle.
Really?
Golden eagles are found both in. Rusty is 7 years old. This guy is 33. Now, in the wild, a red tail lives to be about 15 or 17 years of age. This bird came with me when I moved here from Indiana 22 years ago. He's still part of my original teaching team.
It's beautiful.
He's missing part of his foot. He got caught in a leg hold trap, and he's taught thousands and thousands of kids mostly why you don't shoot red-tailed hawks, because they're meant to be conserved and they're champion mouse hunters. Gorgeous. So this way.
So is one a male and one a female? That's the
No,
difference
they're
in
both
size?
males
Both male.
actually. Skybird. You hear this bird screeching?
Yeah.
What do you think's wrong with her?
She was fed.
That's right. And this bird was found attacking people at the Coeur d'Alene Golf Course. And Fish and Game officers called me and asked me what I thought. I said, somebody has imprinted the bird and let her go, and now she's hungry and she's attacking people.
Yeah.
I said, put a glove on, a leather glove, get some red meat, and you can capture her. Him. And so the bird's been here 15 years later, because you can't have an imprinted bird out in the wild. It's a danger to people. And I'm glad I named this bird a gender-neutral name so many years ago, because last year she laid 5 eggs and we thought she was a male all these years. So Skybird here has been with us a long time. She's often confused with the red tail, but she's a Swainson's hawk. And this is a species that would be in Argentina right now feeding on grasshoppers, returning to North Idaho and parts of Washington to nest in the summer. So this is a long-distance migratory bird, often confused with a red tail, but it's not a red-tailed hawk, it's a Swainson's hawk. And if it were a wild bird that's not imprinted, he would never say a word upon your approach.
Can I get a little closer?
Sure.
Oh, I got it.
Skybird.
I've had 20 years, 15 years.
Who impregnated? Oh,
They're like chickens, they'll still lay infer legs. Yeah. This bird was found in Pocatello, Idaho, in the living room of someone who had kept her in a bird cage for 7 years.
Oh my God.
Now, folks, that's against the law. It doesn't even make good sense, but people still do it sometimes. So, as I said, I work with officers a lot who have no other place to take these birds. They don't want to euthanize them. And we have 2 of some species because sometimes they're off-site doing programs like at the library and giving tours here at the same time. Swainson's hawks.
Kept them in a cage. Some person.
In a wire bird cage, yeah. She is missing one of her eyes. I'm sure they thought they were just trying to help her, but you can't do that with these birds. It's against the law. Okay, for the next aviary, we're just walking right on by the outside. very nocturnal and don't like to be disturbed during the day. Aren't they awesome looking birds? The barn owl. We're about the northernmost range of the barn owl here. They're found, of course, in the south. They don't like the cold. So Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho are about the northernmost limit for the barn owl. But a bird species found throughout the world. Don't stop. We normally don't show this bird to the public because of our permits. And we are not showing them to you, but the photographer is going to go with me to get a shot of this baby eagle. Hey baby eagle, where are you? Baby eagle. So this bird is about 6 months old. And the baby eagles, baby bald eagles, the younger they are, the more chocolate brown they are. And you see he's got nerve damage in that one foot. He just doesn't want to weight bear on it. Good boy, baby eagle. It's okay, Vista. Thank you, dear. You're all right, good girl. How's my baby bald eagle? Hi. I'm going to get you some Christmas trees in here, too. Yeah, your tree's shot. How's Biscuit? Yeah, these are my friends from Coeur d'Alene. You don't have to be scared. This is a Vista, and she fell from her nest as a baby and broke her wing. And she went to a vet clinic to get a pin put in her wing, as they should have done, and then they wrapped her wing for 6 months and never did physical therapy. So just like humans, these birds have to have physical therapy after surgery. What happened? Well, her wing is now frozen to her body, and that's why she's got a crutch in there and why she's in such a small aviary. She can't fly a lick, and she can't balance on my glove in a program, so she's a display bird. She'll let the kids pile in here and get their picture taken, and she'll let you get real close without being too nervous. So you can see how important that sharp hooked beak is to feeding these birds, to feeding their young, for drinking, for preening their feathers. And the Vista here is 11 this year. She's been here since she was a youngster. And I named her after our power company because I'm going to hit them up for a donation one day when I build my Raptor Center. She doesn't mind at all. In fact, I can crack her door as well. It's okay, Vista. Tell him. Yeah, that's a good girl. Tell him. Can you tell him what a bald eagle sounds like, Vista? Huh, Vista? So in order to eat with their beak, they anchor the food with their feet using the talons on their feet, and then they pull up with the beak and the head in opposing force. So you need both your feet and your beak to feed yourself properly. Huh, Vista?
And the eyes to find the food.
Yes, and you can see how crystal white that head gets when they're adults. So you can tell an eagle's age before they're 5, but after 5, when they come in, you don't know if they're 16 or 6 because they all have the white head and the white tail. It's okay, Vista. He's been given permission to do this. It's all right, Vista. So the feet are very, very important for capturing food and anchoring it. The beak, of course, important for tearing the food into bits. And it is said that if an eagle could read the newspaper, he could read it at the other end of the football field. They have 10 times the resolving power that we have to find details over distance. Right, Visty? It's okay, big girl. The blood supply, they grow back deformed. And so Sarvy's here, sent here from Washington State, because they thought we could put a prosthetic beak on this bird too. But if it's just going to keep growing out and pushing out that duck beak, it will do you no good. It's a short-term fix to a long-term problem. So that bird's just here because it needs its food cut up every day into little bite-sized pieces. And there's Gigi. Hi! There's Gigi, the great gray owl in the program. America's tallest owl.
Now, being that the eagle's beak is different
looks like a vista because they've grown up kind of together. So there you have the tallest owl in North America, Gigi. She was at our program. Gigi was found with a badly broken wing near the Canadian border, and it didn't heal well enough to allow her to fly and hunt. So he's here as a teaching bird, a real showstopper in the programs. And my vision and reason for collecting all these birds is you wouldn't want to build a raptor center and then try to get all these birds. This is 30 years of collecting these birds and training every species specifically to meet the bill for a unique showing of birds of prey. Almost all of them found here in North Idaho, including the rare hawk on the end, the ferruginous hawk, a desert hawk found in southern Idaho, Utah, eats pocket gophers, feathered to the foot like the golden eagle. Strictly a bird of the West. And yet it took me 3 months to spell that, ferruginous hawk. Isn't he beautiful?
Sounds beautiful too. What a great voice.
The owls are cool too.
Do owls make a sound?
They hoot.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, they all have a
Diego.
vocalization that they make.
At night? When they go-
So this is 15 acres here, and it includes my house down below there. So you can see how you fill up, because the aviaries take so much space,
Yeah.
and then you need
And you want space between them. Too.
yeah, you need
Exactly.
parking, and you. So I
Yeah.
think 30 acres is going to be about the bare. Yeah, I'm waiting for Tim to catch up.
Oh, sorry.
I'll
just
give you
kidding.
the backstory here. We were offered a very rare white Arctic gerfalcon from Wyoming who was a young breeding bird and didn't breed. And so we went and picked him up. Now you got to build an aviary for him. And so Don's been out here working in the cold with the frozen, and that's the minimum size for an Arctic gerfalcon, who you're going to meet here in a minute. Wow. And so after this bird, we're really at capacity here and don't want to take on any more. We'd rather work on getting some land and focus on building a center.
Right. I think it's a good
These two birds here are waiting for their federal paperwork. This is a, don't get too close, you'll spook him. This is a barred owl. This is a wetland loving owl. Very common throughout North Idaho because we got lots of shallow lakes up here. These guys eat salamanders, frogs, little fish, mice. They're one of the few owls, like the barn owl. The barred owl has brown eyes, and they come off as silver looking. He was found up a Priest River on Kalispell Island, hence his name Kalispell, and he had 2 broken wings. His parents fed him on the ground for a while, and so his wings healed improperly from the fractures, and he can't fly. So he's a good specimen in my eyes because he's not missing a bunch of parts. I don't like to show birds that are missing a bunch of parts. So when he gets his paperwork, he'll become the newest teaching bird.
His
Teaching
diploma.
bird. Yes. Harriet, take it easy. Take it easy, Harriet. Yeah, there's lots of folks here. I can see these guys are out of practice for tours because usually they sit tight. Now, this is an unusual species of hawk here. This is called the marsh hawk. That's its nickname, or the northern harrier. It hunts like an owl. Look at the facial disc around its eyes. So it harries over the grass tops, listening for mice. It's also a ground nesting raptor. So unfortunately they nest in hay fields. And just as they're beginning to fly and flapping their wings, here comes the mower deck. And so she had both of her wingtips amputated, but she survived. And Harriet the Harrier is awaiting her teaching papers from the federal government to become a teaching bird. Long skinny legs, flies low and slow near the ground. Why? Because they're listening for their prey. And so they're a day active hawk that hunts like a nocturnal owl. Very interesting species. And the males are silver gray and the females are brown. Also very unusual in the bird of prey world. Good girl, Harriet.
How long have you had her?
Just about a year. And that's
How long
as
does it
long
take
as
for the paperwork?
Don't get me started, especially. That's why he's got a lot of little crutches in there to climb about because he can't fly. Well, we're going to finish up with a couple of grand finales.
Oh boy. This reminds me of Jurassic.
This is our Eagle Recovery Center. This is where the eagles go after their injuries have been nursed. They've been rehabilitated. You see the eagle in there, kids?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody, I'm gonna crack the door so you can. Everybody see the eagle in here?
And they can practice flying in here.
This is how they exercise to regain their cardiovascular strength.
Right there.
That's a dumb animal.
Really? Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, could be a raccoon or. So eagles are very large creatures, and after they've been injured, they fall out of cardiovascular strength. Before they're released, they need all their feathers, and they need to be reconditioned like an athlete to be returned to the wild. So these birds are in here for 6 to 8 weeks practicing their flying skills, and then when they're ready to go, I take this door and drop it down. It becomes their feeding platform. They're free to fly when they will.
It's just the one,
got
right?
it.
And that bird is about a 3-year-old.
3.
See how that head's starting to turn white? And the beak's starting to turn yellow?
So once it's healthy enough, it literally will just fly off on its own right
Oh
from
yes. And
Does it come back every day to eat just for
Oh,
because
no.
it's easy? No, it's
No,
gone.
No, they're gone.
here. Okay.
But this is how you gauge a raptor center. Is it a high functioning place? Does it have one of these? These are one of maybe half a dozen in the entire country.
I was just going to say, I'm sure there's
This
not
is
many.
120 feet long, 30 feet wide, 25 feet tall. And Avista set all these poles for me with their utility trucks.
Did they really?
So when I need something like this done, I've gotten really good at asking for help. Something as an independent woman I never would have done before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've learned if you don't ask for
You're
funding
doing it for
and
the
ask for
birds.
help,
Yeah.
it's not for me. I'm doing
exactly. That's
fine.
different.
It's
Yeah.
for these
Right,
birds, and they
right.
deserve the best.
Yes.
And so I designed this eagle release door after my reintroduction projects, where I took baby birds and I dropped their door gradually so they were free and didn't know it, and began to develop normally.
Yes.
I had them under camera, and so this was adopted from my reintroduction projects.
So to build this, did you know I need these dimensions from somebody else, or how did you?
I did see one in Alaska at the Sitka Raptor Center. It was similar in size,
Okay.
and I did try to replicate it in size.
Darn.
And upstairs is an observation deck waiting on its one-way glass, and then a backup door. Do you need me to crack the door?
No,
Can you
I
see
think I got a good shot.
get a sense of size,
Oh,
just
yeah.
the way it is?
Beautiful.
So this is where the conservation officer was a few days ago, when we had the adult in here that was paralyzed, and we dropped the door down, he flew right over our heads. Bye-bye.
That's a good feeling.
After almost 6 months. Like I did my job.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that it, back to who is a raptor biologist? Well, I bring a lot of different skills to the table. I was first a falconer, flying falcons for sport. Then I have a 4-year degree in nursing. Then I studied biology and chemistry to go to medical school. Then I got a master's degree from Purdue in eagle biology. And all of a sudden you have somebody who's perfectly fit to take care of these very unique predatory birds of prey. Not every rehabilitator has these skills. Not every raptor biologist has that journey of credentials, but it's what I bring to the table. And my vision is to build a raptor center open to the public somewhere near beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, off a major corridor, so the kids could be bussed in, the tourists could get a chance to look at our native wildlife, and all the birds could be shown off in a facility that's not quite so remote. That's my vision, and I'm sticking to it.
Beautiful.
Let's finish up our tour.
Ironically, I heard some guns.
Started about 4 a.m., shining their lights on the shore. and they're airboats. And they sit out there and blast all day.
Okay.
Little known detail I didn't know when I first bought the place. Not the part with the side. And this is our rolling billboard here at Birds of Prey Northwest. A gift from the gentleman who used to own Oxark Welding and had these logos put on here. So whenever we're fueling up at Costco for fuel, people always ask us, what do you have in that van? What do you do with Birds of Prey? And now you know after your tour today, we do two things. We give medical care to injured wild eagles, hawks, owls, and falcons. And we also travel with our educational ambassadors in this van, going from venue to venue, usually elementary schools, teaching youth the importance of birds of prey in our environment. The peregrine and the Arctic gerfalcons. You've seen all 5 species today. Very few centers can say they can display all 5 falcons. But that's by intention, so when we go into that new center, we don't just have a red tail and a great horned owl to show people.
That's a good point.
Pegasus is a prairie falcon. She's kind of the Marilyn Monroe of falcons, kind of washed out, brown looking, blonde. And she's a desert hunter, but found here in Idaho. And so Jackson is a male Arctic gerfalcon, she's a female. And it is said that nothing can outfly the gerfalcon in level flight. Whereas the peregrine is a skilled diver at over 200 miles an hour, these guys pursue their prey in level flight. And it is said nothing can outfly in level flight the Arctic gerfalcon. Good girl, Jet.
Gorgeous.
Good girl.
You got the 2 of them at the same time?
No, she's been here. She's 3, and we just got him a few weeks ago. He has rare genetics, and when he was gifted to us, we said we can't look a gift horse in the mouth. We got to go to Pittsburgh.
Yes. And was that here in Idaho as well?
He's from Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
Got it.